What is up, folks? We are back. Myself, Mr. Chris Stonage, and Mr. Conor Crosby going to take you through a bit of a recap from the Aston Villa game. Of course, we're going to have a chat around Arne finally breaking that losing streak, and we'll look ahead to Real Madrid. First of all, gentlemen, I hope you had a lovely weekend. Chris, I know you've been busy with work. I mean, fair play. He hasn't slept, ladies and gentlemen, and he's still here putting in a shift. So thank you, Chris. How was your weekend?
Good, mate. Made so much better for having 3 points. Just totally refreshing. It feels good. It feels good, and it keeps you energized even when you haven't slept in about a day and a half. But we move.
Absolutely. I definitely know that feeling. There's been many half 12 kickoffs. That's how I feel, Chris, every single one of them. So, yeah, I never sleep before them. Because I'm this type of person that if I have an early start, my brain won't let me sleep because it fears I'll oversleep. So I just don't sleep. Same with every holiday we go on, stuff like that. Mr. Crosby is a man who never has any trouble sleeping. Did you feel, do you know what? I'm going to make it more simple for you. Wasn't it nice, Conor, to be able to look forward to a match of the day for the first time in a while? Because I tell you what, Saturday night, mate, I was there, feet up, chilling, looking forward to it, knowing I wasn't going to have to dread every moment.
Yeah, even aside from that, just the fact that we scored a goal, we scored a second goal, we didn't concede. It was all just like 20 minutes left. They're like, right, 3 points in the bag, no drama, no tension, nothing. Just 2-0 win, straight as you go. That was just nice to get back to a normal win because we've had far too much drama the last few weeks.
Well, we did try our best. We let them hit the post twice.
Outside of that, but you know what I mean?
It was, it was a great evening, gents. And I suppose let's get straight into it. Team selection, Chris. Somebody who was at the game yourself, was inside Anfield. What was the buzz inside when the team news dropped?
I think it was the big thing for everyone. I think was Robertson being back in. It's something that's been we basically all pushed for the last sort of 5 or 6 games, really. And not to any detriment of Kirkez. I just think he hasn't settled properly, and he's a bit of a headless chicken. We need a bit of solidity, and that was the big one. And obviously, Wirtz not playing, which was disappointing, but he did come on. It sort of felt like factory reset a little bit, which was I think much needed.
So, do you think Connery just decided that he wanted last year's title win in midfield, and that was the difference here? Because it must have been a difficult call. Alexis hasn't been in his best form this season by a long way, but did step up in this game. And then you've got Florian Wirtz still finding his feet. So that was the one surprise to me that we'd seen him in the midfield. I expected Andy Robertson to start because I think he needed to go back to more experience. So, for yourself, were you surprised it was Maka over Wirtz?
A little bit surprised, yeah, especially considering Maka played during the week. Like we said, he's come back from that long-term injury. Like, he's not really fully fit yet. So I was surprised to see him starting again, but I think it was nearly as much as getting Szoboszlai further up the pitch as much as getting McAllister on the pitch. Like, you really want Szoboszlai there kind of starting the press and stuff. So I'd say it's as much that as something else. So, like, if Jones was available, he might have started ahead of McAllister either, but I think it was probably more of a choice of getting Wirtz out for Szoboszlai in the number 10 more so than going to get Maka in. But it worked ultimately, and that's all we can ask for, really, isn't it? So good to see that we did win.
Chris, inside the stadium, you were there, but on the TV, it was certainly coming across like the crowd were responsive. The crowd were up for this game. And I often speak about the players needing to give the crowd something to feed off. Well, it certainly felt like there was enough crunching tackles and there was enough moments in there that got Anfield up on its feet. Just to talk me through some of the moments in the game for you that really, really just got the crowd up.
I think the biggest one was the offside goal. To be honest, it was just an incredible atmosphere the whole game, really. Like vicious support for the manager, which I think was expected, especially after the performance that was put in. But I think the offside goal was the catalyst for everything. I think it was maybe only 3 minutes later that Salah scored his goal. Ekitike was winding up the crowd. Van Dijk, everyone was really. I think the players interacting with the crowd as well really helps, especially in the sort of King Kenny stand and the main stand, because sometimes they may not feel as involved with the chants. But yeah, it was unbelievable in there.
And Conor, Chris mentioned Mohamed Salah, and I don't think it's an accident that when two things happen, we play better. When Salah plays well and when the press looks right, we play better. And my God, Mohamed Salah was at it. He had Lucas Digne on toast with some lovely little flicks and turns down that right side.
I was about to say, yeah, he had him, just cooked him the whole game, didn't he? Like, it was good to see him back to, like, probably not as his absolute best, but he was definitely up there, like, much better than the previous week. So, and like you said, yeah, between that and the stability again, just Liverpool back to what looks like Liverpool again, and Salah thriving will always help that. I'm sure the rest of the team will feed off that as well. So yeah, good to see him back to some sense of normality again.
Would you go as far, Chris, as to say, because this was a discussion we had on the stream afterwards, that this was the best performance we've seen from Liverpool this season so far?
I think it looked the most like last season's Liverpool. I don't think it can be like taken out of proportion the fact that we beat Arsenal this season, which is looking like a complete miracle. They haven't conceded a goal in about 3 years. And it seems like the only way we could beat them was with the free kicks. That was an incredible performance defensively, but this looked a lot like it could have been played last season, which I think is the biggest compliment I can give that performance, because it was really professional. Really, just all over the pitch. I think everyone had a 7 out of 10 minimum.
The press, Conor, is what really stood out to me in this one. I mean, I said it during the watch along. It felt like, I don't want to say Villa were playing into our hands, but it certainly felt like there was a mistake there if Liverpool could get the press right with their insistence on playing out from the back. And, that mistake couldn't have happened to a nicer man than Emi Martinez.
Yeah, it's one of them ones, isn't it? Like, I have a problem with Emi Martinez, but not really his fault. I'm just sick of everyone saying how good he is, because he's really just not that good. Like, everyone's saying, oh, he's the best keeper in the world because of that one performance in the World Cup. And it pisses me off every single time, because he's not at that level, to be honest. So, good to see him just making that mistake. And then, even afterwards, he's coming out with posts saying, like, I don't lose, I just learn or succeed or something like that. But you did lose. You gave the ball to Salah and he scored. So, yeah, good to see him getting a bit of comeuppance on that one.
I know I'm nobody to be slagging anybody about hair, but a grown-ass man with 2 side things shaved into his head, I mean, it really just winds me up, because dude thinks he's 17. But on the goal, Chris, I don't think this has been spoken about enough personally, but it was not an easy finish for Mo on his right foot, because he had to pass it round the player in the first time, and that was a man who was confident.
Yeah, I think I don't know whether it was Steve or Connor or whoever said it, but it might have been in our group. But that goal against Brentford, I think, has given him a bit of confidence, because he before that, like, he didn't look like he could hit a barn door. But even during that game afterwards, and then the Villa game, it just seems like he's just back. It's weird. It's what we've said the whole season.
He needs to just shoot with his right foot now, Chris. That's
yeah, maybe. Maybe he just needs to leather it. But it was a brilliant goal. Yeah. Obviously the issue, Martinez gave it to him on a plate, but as you said, it wasn't easy to finish off. It's one of those that probably goes in maybe 8 times out of 10 instead of 10 times, which, you've got to be there to finish it, especially when you've got no confidence. But yeah, he looked so sharp, didn't he? And he actually had so much energy, interchanging with Bradley, interchanging with Szoboszlai a lot as well. It was really good to see Mo Salah back to his best.
Actually, Chris touched on Dominik Szoboszlai, Conor, and again, I want to call him out or single him out for praise, because he's been unbelievable this season. He spoke about not wanting to give up his place and being up for the fight, and he's certainly a man of his word.
Yeah, he's Gerrard reincarnated, isn't he? Like, you just keep seeing the photos, the parallels of him just like looking the same and everything. It's so good. Like, and especially, like, I know it's such a small thing, but just seeing the number 8 shirt just doing well. It's nice to see it again after Keita as well. And like you said, he's been fantastic. He's playing deeper in midfield. He's playing number 10. He's playing right back this season. Like, no matter what you ask him to do, he's doing it perfectly. And he's such a threat from a long shot. His passing ranges are just ridiculous. Like, every type of pass, it's the energy, the press, everything. He just does have it all, doesn't he? So yeah, like, definitely probably our best player this season, in all honesty, or at least the top 2 or 3. So yeah, long may it continue.
I think I'd agree with you being our best player this season. I think that's a fair statement. I would like to see in the comments if people agree or not with that one. But we also seen Ryan Gravenberch, Chris, back into the midfield, and again, you can see what we missed from him there. He isn't that Rodri type destroyer that sits in front of the back 4, but he is the connection for me between the midfield and attack.
Yeah, 100%. He has also decided to suddenly become a goal scoring threat as well. That's 3 this season now for him. I don't think he scored at all last season. Yeah, he is just so capable on the ball. When he turns forward, he can beat a man. And I know it's not what everyone wants to see at a number 6 role, when a player can beat a man, but that's where his style comes in, a lot like Thiago used to be. I do think, and it happened a couple of times, we still need to work out, and we've said it this season, we still need to work out when he loses the ball specifically, how we're going to cover that, because I think Barkley might have broke forward from it, and we would look really exposed. But look, it's teething problems, but we still kept a clean sheet, and we are going to give up chances with a player like him in the team. So it's just working out. It's worth having the risk, isn't it, to have a player like him?
Absolutely. I think, yeah, he's something different. And, you know, as Chris said, sometimes defensively, yes, maybe we give up a little bit with him there. But to link it all up, I think there's no better player just getting that ball across his body and breaking a line. I want to just touch on Georgie Mamardashvili, Conor, for a second, because clean sheet for the big man, which was great to see. But that was a wonderful save from the shot that deflected off, I think, Virgil's left thigh. And he managed to touch onto the bar. That from Matty Cash, that was an unbelievable save.
Brilliant, yeah, really good. But yeah, it's just good to see him starting to settle in, isn't it? Like people were saying he wasn't that great other games. I thought I had no problem with him whatsoever in any other games. I thought he was fine. Like it was one or two maybe he could have saved, but wouldn't expect him to save. But yeah, definitely his best game first in that one. Good to see him getting a clean sheet, obviously, and good for the whole team really, because we just haven't had. Have we had any clean sheets this season? Maybe like one, but like yeah, the more we can do that, the better. Because
Arsenal.
Like, Arsenal, yeah.
Arsenal,
like
ironically.
it actually was Arsenal, yeah. But even like just to say, look what Chris said earlier, like Arsenal haven't conceded a goal in fucking 20 years. So the less we can concede and the more goals we can score, the better, obviously.
There was one anomaly, Chris, to that team selection that had us all stumped, and that was why there was two goalkeepers on the bench. Petchy and Woodman were both on the bench at the expense of another outfield player, and that was very confusing.
I've seen it a few times. I don't know whether it's a registration thing. I honestly, whenever I see that, I'm totally baffled, because you think surely you'd want maybe a young player, you know, who could potentially come on and have an impact on that bench. But yeah, two goalies. I mean, and listen, if Woodman potentially could come on up top if we really need do a little David James, Stuart Pearce-esque cameo, but I don't think that's going to happen with the other options we have.
How dare you talk about a goalkeeper going up top and not mention Alisson Becker's header? How dare you, sir?
Yeah, but
And
technically
Shamal
he was still in goal.
Shamal George. Don't
He
remember
was,
his
and-
name. Shamal George. He came on up front.
See, to this day, though, I don't think he gets enough credit for how good that header was. Because if a centre back or a centre forward scored that, they'd be talking about it. That was a top notch header. Right, I have a question for you both, and of course to the listeners: is Conor Bradley now our first choice right back? For various reasons. So, one, we haven't really seen enough of Frimpong there. Two, I think we'll all agree that Dominik Szoboszlai can do a job there, but we want him in the middle of the park. So, is he now our starting right back as long as he can stay fit? Or do you think when we see Jeremy Frimpong back in, we'll be seeing chopping and changing again? Because I want us to have a settled back four where possible. So, I'll come to you first, Chris.
I think, yeah. I think he has been probably the whole season. I still don't think he's the finished article at all. He worries me one-on-one. It can sometimes be a bit rash, but I think it's there to see some of the attacking runs that he makes, especially underlapping. He's brilliant. Like, he's got such a great intelligence. He's athletic, but he is a walking yellow card. So that's the kind of problem we have with him. Frimpong, obviously, we've spoken about it. Is he actually a right back? We don't, maybe not. And then you've got Szoboszlai, and then you've got Joe Gomez as well, who, to be honest, I wouldn't even count there anymore. So yeah, I think it has to be Bradley, both out of he's earned it, and also necessity.
So to kind of follow on from that, Conor, and get your opinion as well, I do think that when Kirke settles in a year's time, let's say, the athleticism that we're going to have from both fullback positions in Conor Bradley and Milos Kerkez is certainly, we're not going to be found wanting for effort getting up and down those flanks. But for you as well, do you think Bradley is now establishing himself as the first choice right back with the chance he has with Frimpong out?
I think so, yeah. I think ultimately he's been better than Frimpong so far, and he's getting better. Like that last game against Villa was definitely his best game this season, and I don't think Frimpong has done nearly enough to just walk back into the team, in all honesty. So he's going to have to fight for that position. I'd go as far as to say I'd have Calvin Ramsey at right back over Jeremy Frimpong as it currently stands. Like, I'd rather use Frimpong as an auxiliary right wing option or whatever you want to say, because I just really haven't been impressed with him so far. Like, I know he's going to take time to settle, and I'm sure he will get there, but at the current moment, Conor Bradley is miles ahead of him in my eyes.
I still come back to the summer where I said he's my one, not buyer's remorse, but he's the one I still can't figure out what the plan is or what the plan was or exactly how we're going to utilise him. Was it one of those signings that at just below, 30 million quid, the club thought there's something in this. I guess we'll maybe find out a little bit more when Mo goes to the AFCON. But I wanted to just move on and talk about the League Cup game, Chris, because the manager, we discussed this ad nauseum. We put out a very weakened squad. Was it worth it now that we got the result against Villa, or does it still linger some frustration with you?
I think it's still frustrating. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. I don't think I don't think we won the game because we put a weakened team out against Palace. I do think it helped us not having players having a rest, but it still has a little bit of frustration. I don't think if throwing away a football match really, because we did throw it away. Let's be real. It is ever a good idea. I don't think we should ever do that. Obviously, it's been softened a lot by the fact that we've won this game against Villa, but we've got the two more absolutely huge games coming up. So maybe if we go out and show incredible energy in these two games, it might be proven to be worth it. But I still don't like throwing away games.
So, Conor, I'm with Chris. I hate throwing away any games. And I understood the 11, but I wanted to see 3 or 4 players on the bench. And what I really didn't appreciate was the excuses from the manager, talking about injuries, squad size, look at Manchester City's squad, all this kind of stuff. I just felt like he probably feels that the decision was vindicated, but I keep coming back to the summer, mate, where we had the conversation and the narrative was that we don't have another Plymouth. We don't have a situation where we have to put out a weakened team because we're building out the team. Doesn't really look like depth-wise we have built out the team, but again, I just want to know where your head's at. Are you still frustrated about it, or do you think it was justified?
Yeah, like you said, I'd agree with the starting 11, fair enough, but like it was a complete throwaway then not having anyone on the bench. Like the second we went behind, that was game over, and it's just like it's sad to throw away a game, especially when it's a cup. Like guys, the end of the cup run, then you've already decided we're out with that cup, and it's disappointing to see. Ultimately, like Chris said as well, like would we have won if we had played a stronger team against Villa? Like if we played Villa with players who had played midweek, I'm sure we still probably would have won. So it's hard to know if it really paid off or was justified, but yeah, just always frustrating to see. And then even in the post-match press conference, he was talking about having 20 players being enough, and then like saying in the same sentence that you're always going to have injuries. But like, so you don't have 20 players then. So like even that argument makes no sense. So it is just frustrating. And yeah, like I said, you can't just be throwing away cup games like that. It's not the Liverpool way, is it?
No, he was right about putting out the younger players being the Liverpool way, but that has to be backed up with players on the bench. And again, all clubs have the option to have a 25-man Premier League squad if they can fulfil the homegrown quota as well on top of that. So I think personally, it was the run of results leading up to it that just made him make that very pragmatic decision in his mind that he was going with the weakened team. And
it was brave and bold. Did you not read that? It was really brave and bold of him to do that.
Sorry, Mr. Gorse, to correct. Yes, it was brave and bold. I have a couple of other words that I could use for it that aren't quite brave and bold, but yeah, look, it is what it is. And look, as I said, whatever he said, he got the result on the Saturday, and that has certainly made all of us happier as fans. Somebody who wasn't very happy, Chris, after the game, with some of the criticism that he'd heard, read, seen, was our captain, Virgil van Dijk. He intimated a few things. He spoke about Wayne Rooney criticising his leadership. He spoke about the noise from the outside. He loves the word noise. Like he just loves to talk about the noise from the outside. What wound me up about it, Chris, is Virgil's every right to call out whatever he wants to, same as we do, doing what we do here. But the thing that winds me up about him saying it is, whatever about online fans, because you can have all ends of the spectrum on there. You can have absolutely ridiculous takes that are way over the top. You can have people who are far too sympathetic, and then you can have people who are in the middle. You never, ever, ever hear any grumbling inside the stadium. And that's what really wound me up about it. Like, I'm normally here on the side defending overseas fans and, non-locals or whatever, but every game, Liverpool fans are showing up. They're singing Salah's name, they're singing Virgil's name, they're singing the manager's name. And surely the outside noise, as he says, from social media, he's got to be aware that that's not the majority of people. Like that, it just felt like a cop-out, unnecessary belittling of some of the fan base to me from our captain. I didn't like it whatsoever. I much preferred Andy Robertson's, blunt, it isn't good enough, will be better kind of response.
Yeah, I find it frustrating that we are allowing that to get into the discourse. it shouldn't be. You know, people like Wayne Rooney talking, like, what really influence should Wayne Rooney have at all over any of us? Like, he's a pundit. He's paid to have an opinion. He's going to have an opinion. There's no point even taking that in, because that's not going to help. It's not going to. It's just not going to work for you. I don't see the benefit of it. So, I find it even more bizarre, because I know they're going to hear it, but I find it bizarre to call it out in social media situations. But yeah, look, I don't mind him coming out and saying things about that. When it comes to fan base, I mean, look, you've got a global fan base here of widened spectrum of opinions. You're going to have people who agree with you, people who don't. Get on with it, win games, move on. That's my attitude.
I'm kind of the same as Chris, Conor. I mean, these guys are always more than happy to take the deserving praise that they get when things are going well and they're winning. And Virgil saying last year everything was sunshine and rainbows. Well, it wasn't quite. We lost the League Cup final. Fans were unhappy about that. We went out in the earliest knockout stage of the Champions League, albeit to the deserving eventual winners. I just, like Chris, I just find it very petty that he's calling this kind of stuff out, because there's no need for it. We all know, and I know from making content, that there are people online who like me, people online who don't like me, people online that despise me. But to actually just try to paint out like there was no deserving criticism there, like, oh, we know we're not winning, we know we're not playing. Fans are absolutely within their right to be critical, the same as they're within their right. And I think it's unhealthy if anybody feels like there is no avenue for fans to vent. And I want to say this on behalf of the many who are in the middle, it's lazy to just try to target the very, very excessive abuse and try to paint that as a valid picture of what social media football fans or non-match going football fans are like. Because, you know, same with the abuse we get, it is the vocal minority, but you should be aware of that. And to try and just, I don't know, throw it all out there together, it's just, I'm not going to lie, it really pissed me off. It really, really pissed me off.
Yeah, like I said, it was just unnecessary, really. Like, you're always going to have nut jobs, obviously, going too far with abuse and criticism and sending God knows what into their DMs. Like, fair enough, call that out. But, like, to paint the fan base as if we're all unnecessarily criticising them after losing, 6 out of 7 games. Like, you saying then about, like, last season it was all sunshine and rainbows. Like, did we lose even 2 or 3 in a row last season? Like, it's not even comparable. So I think most people, like I said, 98% of people, I'm sure, are in this like middle section of being completely fair in their criticism or comments. And like you said, it's just petty and unnecessary to come out with something like that straight after a win. Just focus on the positives, just keep the good vibes going, and yeah, just leave comments like that over.
And also, I've said this before in this podcast, like, criticism and abuse are not the same thing.
Exactly.
Like, they're completely two separate things. What criticism can lead into it, absolutely, but critique of your performances that isn't personal, I think is absolutely fair enough for people who pay their money, who buy the merch, who buy tickets, who do, you know, spend hours and hours watching. They have an opinion, so let them have it.
Exactly. Now, to build on this a little bit and looking to the future, one conversation that's popped up in a lot of the streams I've done recently is life after Virgil when he does move on, and the captaincy. And one name that keeps coming up, Conor, is Dominik Szoboszlai as a potential future. Now, of course, nobody's wishing Virgil away. We hope his form stays and he stays for another 2-3 years. But he is showing enough traits for me to suggest that in the future, Dominik Szoboszlai could very well be wearing that armband.
Don't see why not. Number 8, I think he's captain for Hungary as well. Why not? Although we have had this discussion probably a few months ago, everyone was on the McAllister bandwagon, and now people want him sold. So God only knows where we'll be.
I just feel with Macca, what backed me off on the Macca bandwagon, because I was on it, is I just have a feeling we'll see him moving away in the next 2 years.
Maybe.
So
yeah,
my point
being, by the time Van Dijk leaves, I don't know where we'll be. But at this current moment, if you had to pick someone, Szoboszlai would definitely be up there. Outside of him, God, I don't know, maybe Salah. But like outside of that, like long term, you're definitely looking at someone like a Szoboszlai to be the next captain.
Yeah, for me, Chris, you'd rule Salah and Robbo out of the equation, because I would almost say that they're probably in the same boat as Virgil, a couple more years, and most likely the end of their cycle at Liverpool.
Yeah, well, we all know who it should have been, and he'll be playing us on Tuesday. That's who it should have been. But he
Freddie
decided.
Valverde.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we should have been having number 66 as a captain, but unfortunately he decided to throw that away. Yeah, Szoboszlai I think would be more than deserving. Got so many leadership qualities. Young father, someone who's clearly got a lot of responsibility. Like for he's still a young guy. Like what he's 25, 26.
He just turned 25. Yeah,
25. Like mate, he's got what 6, 7, 8 years left at the top. Like maybe not if he carries on running the amount of time that he does, but yeah, he's got so much ability, and the fact he's been captain of Hungary for so long as well. I think 3-4 years. I think that's just testament to him. So yeah, he would be my choice now.
I also get the feeling, gents, that he's going to be with us for the long haul. No, I'm not saying he's going to finish his career with Liverpool, but I'll be very surprised, Conor, if he isn't wearing a Liverpool shirt on his 30th birthday.
Yeah, so I think you could see McAllister moving on. You could Gravenberch. I go back and forth on, to be honest. He's still so young, so it's hard to know how long towards 30. I say he'll be here, but yeah, Szoboszlai definitely seems like the type who will be here for the next at least 5 or 6 years. Outside shout for captain will be Alisson, I suppose, as well. But then like his injury problems, and will Marmardashvili take over him as well. But
don't like goalie captains. Goalie
I don't usually, but I think just in terms of stature in the squad and age, I think he'd be almost there. But I think his injury issues catching up with him, he's probably out of the contention for the long term. So yeah, I'm all aboard the Szoboszlai bandwagon.
I think he'll be gone in 2027 as well.
Yeah, so I am. Yeah, all aboard the Szoboszlai bandwagon, basically.
I'm really weird about this. I don't like my goalkeeper or anybody in the front line being a captain. I want my captain to be somewhere in the back line or the middle of the park. And I say that as a goalkeeper who was a former captain and didn't feel like it was right, Chris.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel right, does it? I personally am a big centre mid merchant for captains. Virgil aside, I just think it always just seems right if they're commanding from the middle of the park, can see both ways, box to box. I think it's just Steven Gerrard, to be honest, that's done that to me. So yeah, anyone, just Gerrard really.
I want to just talk about Real Madrid for a minute, gents. So this is a tough week for me mentally, because I had a statement that I said if Arne doesn't win 2 of the next 3 games, going back before the Villa game, that's probably going to be my tipping point. I've seen a huge response from the players in that Villa game, so I'm kind of wondering how I'm going to feel over the next 2 games, because even at the best of times, Conor, when everything is going great, you're flying top of the league, unbeaten, Real Madrid at home and Manchester City away are never easy games of football. So how are you feeling going into the Madrid game in particular? And is it fair to say that Madrid game holds a bit less importance than Sunday?
Yeah, I think just purely based on the fact that, like, I think it'll be very, very hard for us not to finish within the top 24 in the Champions League. Like, and I don't really care where we finish it, in all honesty. Like, we topped it last season and it just absolutely no good. So if we finish 22nd to get through, fair enough, we'll just go from there. So as long as we get through, fair enough.
PSG. I want us to be that team that just stumbles their way through and somebody goes, how did we end up playing these?
Yeah, someone gets unlucky getting us. But yeah, definitely less important in that regard. Very important in putting Trent over the advertising board and into the stands and putting out a marker and just beating a very good team. Outside of that, if we hadn't lost so many games recently, I wouldn't have been too much emphasis on this game in terms of a result. But I think if we can win that game tomorrow, like just the confidence boost that'll give us, and then go on to Man City then the weekend. So I predicted that we win all 3, and I'm going to stick with that one. So I have to stay with that now.
He did actually predict that, to be fair, and he's only said that to me once before. It was, 17, 18 maybe? Something around
Man
that time?
City Champions League, said we win home and away. We did. So there you go.
We did, so I'm not doubting him anymore, Chris. On the Trent thing in particular with this game, I don't think he's going to be playing it. I don't think he's going to be starting the game based off what we're hearing from the Madrid side. Apparently it's going to be the team that started the Clásico. I don't remember offhand what that was, but we do know Carvajal's injured. So if they do want to have a right back, Trent will be there. But I wouldn't play him if I was in Xabi Alonso's shoes, just because if it doesn't start going right from very quickly, he will be gotten at by the crowd quite a bit. And I don't mean in the booing sense, I just mean in the getting in his head sense. So what are you expecting from this game? Like I asked Conor, is Sunday more important to you? And do you think Trent's going to play?
I really want him to play. I think he will desperately want to play as well. Whether Xabi Alonso thinks it's right for their team at that moment, I don't know. I think it'd be even worse for him if he got bought on. Like, he'd get absolute pelters.
How do you think he will be received?
I think he'll get booed to shit. Like, he was getting booed while he was still at the club. Like, let's not forget this. Like, I personally was massively against that, but he was getting booed while he was still at the club. Now he's gone, boo away, crack on. But yeah, I think he'll be badly received. To be honest, you don't leave Liverpool like that.
So for me, Chris, I'm a never boo a returning player, but more pretend they don't exist kind of guy. Like, I wouldn't be for booing Trent because, like I said, he did serve the club well. I do despise the way he left, absolutely. But I'm more you don't mean that much to me kind of person. I'm not showing you that hurts. So I would be just giving him the same level of let's say encouragement to do shit that I would be giving other players.
Yeah, to be fair, but the one that brings back to me is Sterling, because whenever Sterling played at Anfield for City, he just shit the bed because of the abuse he got and because of the atmosphere and reception he got. But yeah, no, I think it's a really important game for us in terms of keeping momentum going. The result really, in the grand scheme, doesn't matter. But going into Sunday, if we can say that we've beaten Villa and we've beaten Real Madrid, I think it's really important. That'd be great, but it's not as important as City. Like, if you told me now we lose on Tuesday and we win on Sunday, I'd probably shake your hand. And it sounds defeatist or whatever, but that City game is so important for the rest of our season. But yeah, momentum wise, it's gonna be huge. I think playing Madrid.
I'd shake your hand for that. A loss tomorrow and a win on Sunday. Absolutely. I'd rather win both or draw and win, but I definitely would take the 3 points on Sunday. So, Conor, what I'm looking for here is when your fellow namesake, Conor, Mr. Bradley, is doing the handshake beforehand, I want to see a wink towards Mbappe. Have to see some gesture. I mean, if he's got any Irish shithouse in him, there'll be a little acknowledgement there to Killian.
That'll be something like a hello again. Yeah, another one of that would be good. Except if we could do that on the opposite side of the pitch this time, maybe have Kirkes just absolutely flying in on Trent. That could be good. Like, open a minute if he starts. I don't think he probably will start either. But if he does, we have to be straight in on top of him as well.
And what are you expecting from this game? If I was to push you for a result now, Conor. Actually, do you know what? Give me your starting 11 and a score.
Starting 11. Okay, I'm gonna go. Remember that Villian goal? Obviously, I'll go. Kirkes left back because Robertson's going to go too easy on Trent if he plays. So Kirkes left back. Van Dijk, Kanate, Bradley, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai. I put Wirtz back in. Gakpo, Ekitike, Salah, and I'll go 3-2 win.
So for me, I'd like to see Gakpo out, Chiesa in from that lineup, and I agree with Kirkes, but for a different reason, because I don't think Andy Robertson could play 4 games in 13 days. And again, the City game being the most important for me. Now, I know there is no chance in hell we're seeing Gakpo out and Chiesa in, but again, what we don't want to happen here, Chris, is for Gakpo to pick up an injury.
Yeah, no, exactly. We really we can't afford injuries, especially in that front line. The one good thing we have is the fact that we can rotate them a little bit, which is nice. But the thing that weirded me out on Saturday was he only made 1 sub, so I don't think there was any thought to.
I have to double check that with Conor. It's like, have I lost it, mate? Because sometimes I'm watching the game, reading chats, I'm in between, and he said, "Nope, check just 1 sub," and like, I was kind of flabbergasted at that.
Yeah. So there was no thought ahead to this game really. Just had to get the Villa game on, which I completely respect, to be honest, because we did have to just win that game. But in terms of the team, I think I agree with the back 5 for that Conor said. I think it's got to be that 3 in midfield. I'd probably have Wirtz off the left, cutting inside against Fede Valverde. I think that'd be quite nice. And Ekitike and Salah, that would be my front 3.
Yeah, I could definitely see an argument for what both of you have said. Again, to rotate out Gakpo, I think it's more realistic that we'd see Wirtz from the manager than Chiesa, which is what I and I guess a lot of our fans would like to see. But yeah, good shouts, gents, for both. And a score prediction.
2-1 Liverpool. But
Did you give me a score prediction?
Yeah, 3-2.
Ouch. I must be the only one that's thinking 2-2 draw then. That's what I went for.
I was thinking it, but I can't predict a draw. We've got to predict a win.
Can you imagine the scene tomorrow night, by the way, if it turns out we have a cup team and we see Freddie Woodman and all them lads starting tomorrow night again?
Doing a whole Brendan Rodgers.
Exact same team as Palace again, imagine.
5 keepers on the bench.
Yeah.
Just roll out Brad Jones and Barini again. Same as 2015. Run it back.
No, thank you. Right. Let's finish on somewhat of an opportunistic forward-looking note and talk about the January transfer window, because we got to get some business done. I know the club may not have planned for January business, still may not be planning for January business, but my desire for which positions is somewhat shifting as the season goes on, because if I was to prioritize, Conor, my 3 positions in order I'd like to see us address, it would have been before the season: centre-back, central midfield, defensive midfielder, and then a forward. But now I'd swap it and I'd have centre-back, wide attacking player with pace and strength, and then I'd go for a DM as the third of my list of priorities. And what do I expect? I expect the centre-back, unless they've lost their damn minds, but, let me know what you're thinking on it. Do you think we'll do any business in January with regards to incomings?
I'm the exact same as you. Yeah, I'd definitely prioritise. And centre-back has to be number 1. Whoever that is, I'm not sure, but get someone in, because we just have no bodies back there. And then, like I said, another forward option, like preferably on the wing, obviously, because we have the 2 strikers. But yeah, I definitely would have been on the midfield bandwagon in the summer, but I don't think it's as necessary now with how the season's gone so far. I don't think we need too many more bodies in there. Whether we actually do anything or not, I'm hopeful of a centre-back, but I'm not going to hold my breath on it either. Like, other than that, I can't see anything unless, like, I don't know, Semenyo pushes for a move and we see there's a good deal there, or someone we were targeting for the summer looks to be moving somewhere else and we kind of hijack it. Outside of that, I'm not too optimistic. But yeah, centre-back is 1, 2, and 3 on my list, in all honesty.
And for yourself, Chris?
I think the fact that the club were willing to go and get Margay for 35 million in the summer, and it only didn't happen because of, well, I don't know why, particularly between Glasner and a lack of organisation, that didn't happen.
And Steve Parish just making up alternative histories.
Yeah, and all that. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's so confusing, because there's so many different timelines in which they've made it up. But the fact that they were willing to go and do that makes me think that they'll definitely be willing to go and do it at a cheaper price in January, or potentially go and get someone else for that 35 million that they had in reserve for that. It's if we're going to make anything of this season, we have to get a centre back in, because you can't convince me that Konate's staying fit for all the season combined. He will pick up a knock at some point, and Gomez has looked so bad since when he's played. He's made I think 4 individual errors, and he's our backup, and the other one's Gravenberch, and he's so valuable in midfield. If we don't get a centre back, we won't make anything of this season, and I'm prepared to die on that hill, because we absolutely have to. On
the Margay thing, Conor, I think Parish said pretty unlikely they're going to look to sell him even in January, because what's a few million quid, 15, 20 million quid worth to them versus the league positions now, and with the good start that they've made to the season. Yes, that unbeaten streak came to an end, but I'm feeling more and more dread, Conor, about the idea of Margay. Than when the window closed in the summer, I felt very confident that he would be a Liverpool player then eventually. But right now, I don't know. I'm starting to wonder: is he getting offers from elsewhere, and is it maybe more realistic he signs something pre-contract wise in January to go abroad?
Yeah, I don't think he'd want to move in January, in all honesty, as well. I think Palace wouldn't really want to sell, and I think he just wanted consistency for the World Cup year as well. Like, he's not going to want to uproot and leave midway through the season. And we probably are at a disadvantage, really, against the likes of Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Madrid, with the pre-contract, because, like, I'm sure we'll be sending messages, like getting messages to the player on what we're offering for the summer. But the fact we can't, like, formally approach him and actually get his signature on anything is obviously an advantage to the other team. So I think I'm like 80% sure maybe we might still get him, maybe a bit less, but I was 99% sure we get him in the summer, and then it all just fell apart. So where he ends up is a tricky one to know, but hopefully, like, the fact that he was in the Liverpool gear doing his medical, spending so much time with, like, the club officials and everything, like, surely he'll want to just fulfill that dream, because it was so close. So that's what I'm going off of. I'm just hoping and praying that he's been convinced by that and wants to go back to that in the summer next year.
And also, if Steve Parish wants to save a few bob, the goodbye video is already recorded. So, handy enough on there. One name that I would throw into the mix, Chris, before we finish up is Ousmane Diomande. for me, if we do have to go into the market and spend some money, I wouldn't say no. Look in that direction.
It's ironic because isn't he the lad that Palace were after?
He was, but I don't think they could come up to the 60 million. I think.
I mean, yeah. I mean that would have been pretty ideal for them because he top quality centre back, 22 years old, like got sort of Canate level traits. I think he's much better on the ball. I'm wary of players from Portugal. Just Darwin has given me too much hope in the world. But then we did get Diaz from there as well. But yeah, look, in terms of young, promising centre backs, I don't think there's that many out there that are gettable. I think he's probably number one.
For yourself, Conor, would you take Ousmane Diamonde if Marque didn't pan out, or have you another name you'd like to see us go after?
Yeah, I can't say I've seen a huge amount of him, but like everything you see and read about him, like everyone rates him very highly, and I'm very much trusting of like Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. Like if they see value in that, I'm sure they'll go for it and do it. So full trust in the scouting team, really, whoever they want. But yeah, I just think any centre back, just get us a centre back, regardless of who it is. Just get someone in January. Maybe not that far.
Ozan Kabak?
There's a fella at Derby County who's doing all right. A fella by the name of Nathaniel. Yeah, he wouldn't be too shabby. Look, gents, we're going to leave it there. It's been another interesting chat. Really do appreciate both of your takes. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, love to know your thoughts. We will be back after the obliteration of Real Madrid on Tuesday night. We'll figure this out sometime later in the week. Thank you to Chris, who again has been working off fumes, no sleep. Much appreciated, sir. And Mr. Crosby, always a pleasure. And you will see Conor with some more morning videos. I think you're going to be putting one out tomorrow, Conor, if I'm not mistaken.
I should be, yeah. All going well.
Because you're never getting me to do an AM video. It just isn't happening. So thank you all, as always. Thank you to Chris. Thank you to Conor. We'll talk soon. Much love. Bye-bye.